Hey, welcome back to the Beast Game Podcast. This is a review for Birth of a Dragon. It's directed by George Nolfi. The writers are Stephen J. Reveley and Christopher Wilkinson. The synopsis is set against the backdrop of the 1960s San Francisco. Birth of a Dragon is a modern take on the classic movies that Bruce Lee was known for. It takes its inspiration from the epic and still controversial showdown between an up-and-coming Bruce Lee and Kung Fu master Wong Jack-man, a battle that gave birth to a legend. What did you think about this movie?
I did not like it.
Blasphemy!
One thing this movie suffers from is savior complex.
What?
This movie is called Birth of the Dragon, right? It should be focusing on Bruce Lee. Instead, the main focus was on a secondary character that was one of his students that decided to be the third party between Bruce Lee and Wong Jack-man. And also, this character happens to be Caucasian. And this character happens to try to bun up a Chinese woman that was in servitude and break her out of servitude, or let's just call it what it is, slavery. It should have been focused on Bruce Lee and Wong Jack-man. They were main characters in this movie, but I didn't feel that they were. The fight scenes weren't that great. It's really bad when you have two martial artists. The person that was playing Bruce Lee and the person was playing Wong Jack-man. They were actual martial artists, and you had to speed it up. And when you sped it up, it looked cartoonish, especially their fight scene. Their fight scene should have been the most epic thing possible in this film. Instead, it was really bad. You had two martial artists fighting, and you sped it up to the point that it looked like it was a Power Rangers fight scene.
All right. So, Matt,
Power Rangers, really?
Not the Power Rangers of 2017, not this year. Power Rangers of 1993.
All right, Matt, what is your view?
I'll disagree with James. For me, I didn't view the movie as like a savior. I viewed him as a third-party character who served as bridge the two main characters. I think the martial arts aspect of it was pretty well. I think one of the things I liked about the parts of the movie is that the depth of the characters that they had. Mind you, it all led to this climatic fight towards the end, but you had a genuine feel as far as like, all right, Bruce Lee acted this way, the other character acted another way, and there were two separate characters, kind of the yin and the yang, kind of balanced the movie out. Honestly, I like the movie.
But Matt, I will agree with you on this. The actors that played Bruce Lee and Wong Jack-man, they were pretty good, especially the one that played Bruce Lee. He had his mannerisms down.
Oh, he did. I didn't know he was that arrogant. Was he that arrogant?
Yes, he was arrogant as fuck. But the thing is,
okay,
he backed it up.
Oh, did he?
You know what? I'm not even going to say he was arrogant. He was confident, but he had a reason to be confident because he was that good. If you're good at something and no one could touch you, you're going to be somewhat arrogant. But then the thing with Wong Jack-man and Bruce Lee, they were definitely polar opposites. You're right. They're like yin and yang. Wong Jack-man, from this movie, like I said, I don't know how true to form this movie is to real life. But from the actual movie itself, I did like the dynamic between the two. I was actually more so on, being honest, with Wong Jack-man's side because it seemed like he was more humbled. He was more at peace. He was more level-headed. Bruce Lee was very cocky, very confident, but that was also how he was in real life, from what I've researched. And you can also see it even in his movies. Sometimes his characters are very cocky too. So for him to be the polar opposite, and he actually came from where Bruce Lee was at the point in time in this movie, because he was also, his discipline was lacking. So that's why they say that he was here in the United States, because of he let his pride get in the way of what was supposed to be a demonstration because he didn't want to lose. So the purpose of Wong Jack-man being there, from what it was said in the movie, I mean, you can tell me if I'm wrong, man, if I missed something, was that he was there to basically humble. This was like his self-inflicted punishment. But in the process, he encountered Bruce Lee. He saw what he was. He saw that he was good, but he was limited by his own arrogance.
I don't remember the name of the Caucasian guy who helped bridge them too, because other than that, I don't think they would have ever met.
Well, no, I think they would have met without him. So
Steve
I think
McKee.
But I think they would have met without him because word of mouth would have got to Bruce about Wong Jack-man being there. And Bruce, because he was arrogant, would have confronted him the same way that he did before. Because I don't think his character was needed at all. What was the point of the story between him and the Chinese girl that he wanted to free from slavery? I understood that part, but it was not needed to propel the story. The story is called Birth of a Dragon.
Did you ever think that he was the manipulator of it all?
Of course he was. That's what I'm saying. He was a manipulator of it all. He was basically moving the pieces where he wanted to be, and then he was like, well, I'm going to try to get her out of slavery. And to me, they focus too much on him. It's not called Birth of the Savior. It's called Birth of a Dragon.
I'll disagree. He was more of a bridge character to get them to fight and the motivation behind the fight. So he's kind of like the guy behind the scenes kind of setting it up. Did he have screen time? Yeah, he definitely did. I agree with James on that. But I didn't view it as the white savior or the focal point. I viewed it more as like, hey, this is the reason why they're fighting. Because was it Wong
Jackman? Yeah.
Wong Jackman wouldn't have fought him without that motivational push from this bridge character.
But then also you got to remember, Matt, was that true? Or was that just in here just to propel the story for the white savior?
I don't know if that part is a true story, but
that's why I'm saying that. Because from the research I've done, Wong Jackman was fighting him because he didn't want him to teach Caucasians.
Yeah, initially.
And then my thing is this: why in the movie, Wong Jackman was actually trying to teach Steve McKee, which he is a Caucasian.
Did he actually teach him?
Hey, he did.
Or did he just like talk to him?
Well, no. Remember, he said, "Attack me." He was giving him a lesson without giving him a lesson. He was giving.
I remember that, but I didn't view it as a lesson.
Oh no, it was a lesson. Okay. He gave him a lesson basically in control, discipline, control your anger.
Lesson as far as not teaching him like, hey, this is how you punch.
I mean, he wasn't going to do that, but like what he did was basically a tenet in the martial arts, discipline.
Yeah.
So that contradicts everything that I think was the known fact that Wong Jackman and the Kung Fu community at the time did not want Bruce Lee teaching outsiders, anyone that was not Chinese, but yet he giving him some pointers and all this other stuff. It just didn't seem right. I don't know if Steve McKee is even a real character, or was he just put in to basically make the movie more mainstream? I know WWE has something to do with it, but I think it was also produced by a Chinese studio as well. So that's what was confusing to me.
Did you see the initial trailers of this when it first came out?
I think I saw maybe 2, and I really don't remember him even being in it.
Very first trailer, and they changed it. The focus essentially was on Steve McGee. It was all about him on the first trailer. And then there was a backlash, like, how are you going to have the trailer all about him learning Kung Fu when the movie is about the birth of a dragon? So they actually ended up changing the trailer where it focused on the 2 main characters.
That kind of proves my point.
Well, I'm saying that's how it started off, is what I'm trying to tell you. But in my opinion, in the end, he was a bridge character. He wasn't really like a main character.
Well,
I enjoyed the movie, though.
I was disappointed because I'm a martial arts fan. I love Bruce Lee. I love what he stands for. I love the whole martial arts aspect of it all. I like Wong Jackman, the discipline. And I actually understood what Wong Jackman was doing. It also made Bruce Lee. So the title is correct. It was a Birth of the Dragon because after that fight, now this is stated to be true, and that was probably accurate from this movie and accurate from all accounts that I've researched. That fight what he had with Wong Jackman to this day is still controversial on who actually won. A lot of people say Bruce Lee, a lot of people say Wong Jackman, but I do know for a fact that this fight made Bruce Lee alter his fighting style because it was just certain things he kept saying that the fight lasted too long. Because Bruce Lee, one of his things was fights should never last too long. Fights should be quick in and out, which is true. It should never last longer than maybe a couple of minutes, maybe less than that. This made him create Jeet Kune Do, which is Bruce Lee's trademark, his trademark martial art, his martial art. This movie was accurate on that part. Now, everything else, I don't know if it's accurate or not. It was based on an article that was written in 1980. I think it was called Bruce Lee's Toughest Fight, something like that.
All right, let's get the scores. So, James, what score would you give Birth of a Dragon?
I would give this a 4.5. Just because of the things I mentioned before. I believe that they focus too much on a secondary character and not on the progression of the main characters. I mean, it was progression there. The characters did grow. Bruce Lee did grow in this film. It did establish the birth of the dragon. But it was too much focus on Steve McKee when it should not have been. So that took away from the actual movie itself to me. I wouldn't see it again. I wouldn't even see it for the fight scenes. Like, some movies could be so bad, but you're like, you know what? That fight scene's amazing. Let me just fast forward to the fight scene. No. But I would say the actors, for Bruce Lee and One Jack Man, I believe they did a pretty decent job, especially Bruce Lee. He had his mannerisms down to a T, which was very impressive. Very impressive.
All right, Matt.
8.0. I thoroughly enjoyed myself in the movie. I felt that Steve McKee, although he does have screen time, he served more as a bridge character than an actual primary character, and he was not necessarily the mastermind, but the guiding force or motivation for these two to fight. Not necessarily a manipulator behind the scenes, but again, bridging them together. The martial arts of it kind of was towards the end, but I thoroughly enjoyed sitting and learning about the characters, their mannerisms, which they got down to the T, their motivations behind it and why they were there. The action was fine. The martial arts was good. I think the one thing I would question was like, hey, was this actually occur? Did they fight? Or was that something that the WWE creative team came up with? But I enjoyed the fight scenes. I enjoyed the build-up of characters. For me, it had depth with them, and the build-up was great. So I'd go with 8.0.
You know what? And that's $1 million question, Matt. How much of this is real and how much of this is fake? Every biopic, they always take liberties with it. They'll always add something just for entertainment value, which I don't think was needed because it's Bruce fucking Lee. You don't need this shit.
Okay, well, that's the Beast Game Podcast. You can find more of our podcasts at beastgame.com, iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube.